Hey everyone, Bree here. I wanted to talk today about something that came way to start out a vlog. Across my path probably about 6 weeks ago, maybe a little sooner, maybe a little longer than that actually. You know, time flies when you're having fun. The concept of what the title of this video is, Archons and basically AKA, I guess, fear feeders. I normally am like super positive, upbeat. I think I'm probably a little guilty of shunning away, negative or dark things and topics, things that scare me or things that don't seem on the up and up. And so this is one of those things, and I want you to know that my intention with this video is to bring you knowledge and empowerment. So embracing your power, embracing your sovereign light, and we're just super powerful beings, and so that's my intention with this video. So not to cause fear, not to scare, not to put a lot of scary ideas in your head, not at all. So just want to start out by saying that even though this topic is maybe a little scary for some, it was a little for me, that it ultimately will lead you, if it resonates with you, will lead you in a place where you feel so much more secure and so much safer and so much more powerful. So just to preface before we start talking about all this stuff, so I am bringing up some of my information. And okay, so about 6 weeks ago, give or take a couple of weeks, a friend of mine here in Phoenix had told me to visit a website by a guy named Cameron Day. And that may not have been the first thing that happened. I can't remember. It's been so many like synchronistic like events that have happened in the last 2 months that I actually created a synchronicities log for that purpose because it's just so much crazy, like fantastic stuff that's happened. And so I wanted to keep track of it so I could look back and be like, how did I get here? So anyways, there may have been some other things that came across my path, videos or websites, but the one that stuck out the most for me was by a guy named Cameron Day, and some of you may have heard of him. He's a healer, very wise spiritual leader, coach, and I had never heard of him, but he is very well known in the spiritual and healing world, apparently. He has a website with all kinds of information about this topic, about archons, what he calls the turds of karma, the TOK. He basically calls these beings, and we're going to get to it in just a second, but I came across his website, and that was where a wealth of information came to me from. And then, kind of just being who I am, kind of spun off from there and went on a wild chase for anything I could find. So my life before that was surrounding myself with love and light, surrounding myself, calling on archangels, calling on angels, anything in my life that got hard or scary, please, angels, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, please come to me, saying those things over and over. And this article about these archons, these beings, really made me just take a step back and say, how did I believe that archangels or angels were who they say they are? And did I use any discernment when I called these beings in like a long time ago? And do I believe in them, or do I just believe in them because people have told me that they believe in them and that they're real and they are, of love and light? So I really started to it just made me start thinking and questioning that. And when I read Cameron's article, so here's the information. Archons are, if you think about the word archangel, archangel, it's kind of included in that word. It's kind of incorporated in that word. And these beings they basically masquerade as higher level beings, higher density beings of love and light that have, your best intention, your highest and best good and their intentions in interacting with you. And what I found from direct experience is that my personal direct experience is that they're sometimes not that. And so on Cameron Day's website, he has, like I said, all this wealth of information about archons and how they masquerade and how they can appear to be of love and light and service and may make you feel certain things, but really they feed on fear. They are made, they not are made, their intention is to keep us basically at a certain level or below, so that we still have fear, so that we still have, negativity that they feed off of. And from their perspective, they make these quote unquote contracts or spiritual agreements with us when we're on the other side, where we're not fully aware of what's going on. And so essentially they're taking advantage of us. Some of these beings may have, there's lots of different reasons, I'm sure, but some of the ones that stuck out for me were that some of these higher level beings may have some karma from previous experiences that they don't want to deal with. And so they're trying to not necessarily bypass it, but they're trying to put some of that on us and make some agreements with us, like, well, if you go in this life, and do this, and if I help you through it, i.e. you go through it for me, then we'll both be good. So that's just kind of one example. There's so much information, like I said, and I'm still digesting it myself, if you can't tell. But essentially on Cameron's website, aside from all the information about these beings and how they can affect our lives and how they can take advantage of us, he gives exercises to revoke those contracts, to cancel them out, to detach from any beings that don't have your highest and best good, to cancel any agreements you had on the other side, to cancel any karmic connections that you may have not really been aware of what you were doing, but they were aware of what they were doing and that you would have made, not knowing the full scope of what was going on. So he gives all these exercises and meditations to do, and it's a series that you kind of go through, all free, PS. So really no excuse not to check it out. And when I started going through those from my personal direct experience, like I said, I want to try and speak from that place as much as possible when I can. From my direct experience, I said, okay, I'm confused now. I'm a little confused. I'm worried. I'm, like, are there beings around me that don't have my highest and best good? Am I, being held back in some areas of my life because some of silly agreements that some being made for me, basically, without my knowledge, or kind of coerced me into it on the other side? So I was confused. So I said, okay, everybody, back the F off. And I was pissed because I was starting to get mad, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm mad, but the thought that came across my head is, why am I mad? And it's like, well, if these beings did this to me and they're taking advantage of me, like, what the F? Like, seriously. And I was real, like, emotional about it. So the experience that happened was I went through this Cameron's series of meditations. And by the way, I'll put his website and a link to that page and that blog with the information so that you guys can check that out. I'll put that in the description box below. But when I went through the series of exercises and, said, anybody that doesn't have my highest and best, and basically talking to my higher self, like in here, my higher self, and saying, higher self, use your discernment. If there aren't any beings around me, or if there are beings around me that don't have my highest and best good and are of not divine love and light, go back to from whence you came. You are transmuted. Go to the light. Leave me the F alone. Get out of my life. Be gone. I felt so, it almost felt like, it just felt like I took a deep breath and that a wind was blowing past me at the same time. It was like this sense of relief, but it was like this, like energetic nakedness or something. I don't know how else to put it. I felt naked. I felt like it was just me, and it was so silent. And I hadn't felt that. I realized when it came over me. I realized I had not felt that in quite some time. And it's crazy because right after I did that is when all kinds of other truths, all kinds of synchronicities have been happening, like crazy stuff. When I say crazy, I'm talking like involving other people. This is not meant to convince you. It's just saying, like, this was my experience. As soon as I said, get out of my life, I released all these contracts, went through the exercises of really putting some intention on that. It was like, whoa, I felt naked at first. I felt like, oh my gosh, like, it's all been a lie. It was kind of like upsetting and a little uncomfortable and a little frustrating, but then all this stuff started coming to my life, all this information, these truths, like, in all areas, spiritual stuff, full disclosure about like the space programs and politics and just all this truth like kept bombarding and coming into my life, and it was like I'm like on overload at this point. But it all started when I said, anybody that might be around me that is not good for me, get the F out. I feel like opened a door for me, not only receiving truth and information and stuff that is in my highest good, but also like feeling like, wow, I don't need anything else outside of myself to embrace my power. And you, you can do the same thing. We're all waves in the ocean. We may stand out and look a little different from each other, but really there's no place where I begin and you end. So we're all made of the same stuff. We're all God having a human experience. We are all powerful. We are sovereign beings. And so if there's one thing I can leave to impart you is if this is resonating with you, like I said, this is not meant to convince or persuade or tell you what's right and tell you what's wrong. This is my personal experience. And if it resonates with you, it very well, could have some benefit for you if you check it out. But I think that's really all the information that I can impart at this point. Like I said, I've had a few experiences with it, learned some information, and it really resonated with me, and I really feel like it's changed my life for the better in a big way in a short period of time. So wanted to pass that on to the world so that you guys can benefit in the same way if it's meant to be. So if you guys have any questions, of course, comment below. I'll try to get to those as soon as possible. And you can also contact me via my website at briannacolombini.com. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.